All right, pretty exciting day. We got the new Apple Watch 11. We're still rocking the 7, which has been fine, but I figured it was time to upgrade, so we're going to be taking a look at this. I think the main sort of selling point for me was the blood pressure monitoring, although I'm not even sure if that's actually like past FDA and it actually works right now, but we'll see. My entire father's side has struggled with high blood pressure, and I am no exception. I am doing what I can to mitigate that, exercise and eating well, but regardless, it's important to at least keep a sort of eye on it. But yeah, let's just start with opening it and comparing it to the S7 I have. I imagine there's at least a couple people that have considered going from the 11 from the 7, so we'll see. Here's the watch itself. We did get the same size, of course. I think the bigger one is good for me as I am a 6'3" man and just have generally bigger arms and whatnot. But yeah, here's the watch itself. We're going to take off the S7 so we can kind of look at them side by side. I mean, yeah, first impressions wise, they look pretty much identical. The 11 should be slightly thinner, and yes, I guess it is, mainly because of this bump here is not so pronounced, I suppose. Take another side by side look there. It is ever so slightly thinner. I don't have calipers on hand, but we'll see if there's also a difference in weight, though currently I can't tell. So the S7 watch is 38.8 grams, and this one is 38 grams. So it is 0.8 grams lighter, which is basically nothing. Oh, apparently I missed that, but this is 46 millimeters. This is 45 millimeters. I don't know if it's just biased now knowing it's 1 millimeter larger, but I guess it does look a tiny bit larger. Anyway, let's go ahead and turn it on. Obviously more important is like the software features and such. And I guess we'll go ahead and put the armband on as well. I was probably planning on just using this if it still works. I really like the solo loops the most. It's just unfortunate they kind of stretch out over time. We'll try the Nike band. It's the one I just kind of chose because they basically give you a free one. It's like, sure, why not? I've tried these before. I think they're quite comfortable as well. They also do stretch a little bit, so that's kind of nice. Yeah, honestly, it does not look quite as good as the solo band. I can never really get used to the bump here, but I think it has gotten better since like previous generations of these bands. It's not so pronounced, but it just still doesn't look quite as good as these, even though they also get quite dirty quite easily, and they're like almost impossible to clean without messing them up. But yeah, we're gonna set it up. I'll be back in a minute. But before that, I do want to see, because this is 46 millimeters now, does this actually still work? It doesn't click into place. I mean, yeah, I guess that's on me. I probably should have checked. It still technically works. I'm not sure I would trust it. Hello, I'm back. It's all set up. And I noticed that with my old watch and the new band that came with my Series 11, that fit perfectly. So I was like, maybe I put it in upside down. And in fact, I did. It does click into place. It locks. It's compatible. I put it in upside down. It's so over for me, man. To be fair, that's an easy mistake to make, but yeah, I probably should have thought about that. Regardless, that is, that's cool. What's not as cool is I don't believe the blood pressure thing even exists right now. I think they're still waiting for like FDA approval, which they expect this month, but I don't know. Coming from the Series 7, there are a couple neat features, I guess. You can do this and bring up that thing. If you're listening to music, it can be a next track or a pause. And then the wrist flick to go back to the home face. If you get like a intrusive notification, you just want to get away real quick, then you can do that. Truth be told, I'm not sure how often I would actually use those features. Other than that, it does feel a bit snappier than my old one, which makes sense. On my wrist, it definitely does look bigger than the old one. I'm not sure how that's really possible with 1 millimeter, but like you can see it. It's kind of actually insane. Maybe just because there's more screen and less bezel, but there's also like so little bezel already. I do apologize for not being like super hype about it. It's just kind of a slightly bigger Series 7 for me anyway. I honestly don't notice that it's like more comfortable than the Series 7. Maybe it is, and I just need to get used to it because it is a slightly different feel. It does feel like it rests a bit flatter than this one, and that's probably because the bump here is a little bit less protruded on this one. So I think it ultimately will become a bit more comfortable, but it's really not a drastic difference one way or the other. There were some other features like the sleep score stuff and sleep apnea. I think that came in like the Series 9 or 10 already, which might be interesting, and I'll try them out, but I just generally don't wear my watch to sleep. This one's battery was getting quite a bit degraded. Sometimes like even though I only wear it while I'm awake and put it on the charger while I'm asleep, there were a couple times it was like at 10%, before I went to bed, and like, damn, that's kind of close. So if it wasn't for this one having better battery life plus a new fresh battery in there, I would probably have just stuck with the Series 7 for another generation. Another thing is, which makes the comparison quite hard, is on my Series 7, like literally just a couple dadays ago, I upgraded to watch OS 26. And so it just feels so so similar. But I mean, that is a good thing for consumers. You can keep your older devices and they still feel like the newer devices. Like with the workouts thing, we have this little list here now, and you can customize the different metrics you see. But here on my Series 7, they also added this. So there's so few things I can really point to and be like, oh, that's a cool new feature, because it's mostly just in the software. Little update here, just speaking on battery life, I charged it once to full since I got it a couple days ago. That was about 30 hours ago, and we're still at 28% battery, which is super impressive. I did wear it to sleep to check out the sleep function, but yeah, I assume it uses less battery while you're asleep. So I'm thinking perhaps the rated battery time is like active time? I don't know, but it's really impressive. In between then and now, I have done some extra research into what we're actually getting from Series 7 to Series 11, and I thought it'd be interesting to explain which features were in each watch, at least starting from 7. Series 8 was a pretty small upgrade. We got crash detection, wrist temperature sensing, and ovulation estimates, as well as Bluetooth 5.3 versus the 5.0 on the 7. Series 9 was pretty big. The screen doubled its nits to what it is today, 2000, and could have a lower minimum brightness as well, down to 1 nit. They added a 4-core neural engine, which helps with certain tasks and features, and doubled the capacity to 64 gigabytes. According to Apple's watch comparison thing, starting from Series 9, it is also capable now of these hypertension notifications, or the blood pressure stuff we were talking about. So I guess that was more of an OS update than a hardware one, though again, only Series 9 and up have that capability. Series 9 also introduced the sleep apnea notification, and is also where these gestures came from. Though I should note this sleep score feature was also just an OS thing, that's even on the S7. They also added precision finding for iPhone and a low power mode that could potentially double battery life. Series 10 is the one that increased the case size by 1 millimeter, and we got LTPO3. I'm not going to pretend I'm an expert on this, but it's basically like a screen technology that has to do with dynamic refresh rate swapping. So, when there's not much happening on the screen, it can go down to 1 hertz, and LTPO3 basically expands on that. So in a nutshell, it increases battery life. The water features got some buffs as well. We got snorkel, a depth gauge up to 6 millimeters, and water temperature sensing. And the battery, while it still has that up to 18 hours, it can charge a bit faster. The speaker here apparently became capable of media playback, but I have not gotten that to work yet on my 11. So I assume it might be only for certain apps like Apple Music, which I don't have a subscription to. And finally, moving on to the actual Series 11, 5G capable, apparently 2 times more scratch resistant, and by far the most substantial is indeed battery life, going from up to 18 hours to up to 24. I have in my script here, when I had worn it for 25 hours, it was at 46%. And no, I'm not in low power mode. I haven't been at any point. Like I said earlier, most likely it does use less power while you're asleep because you're not always looking at it and checking and having the screen come on and, things happening. But I guess it does depend on the user. Like me personally, I have a pretty static display most of the time. Things don't really need to be updating all that often. Interestingly though, all the other watches until now had their own chip, S7, S8, S9, S10. This one has the S10 as well. What's up with that? At least that's what it says on Apple's website, so I'm just choosing to believe that. So in a nutshell, if you upgraded from the Series 7 to the Series 11, your new features are double the nits, double the storage, neural engine, faster charging, 6 more hours of battery life, media playback on speaker, 5G capable, more scratch resistant, Bluetooth 5.3, hypertension notifications, sleep apnea notifications, gestures, crash detection, wrist temperature sensing, ovulation estimates, precision finding for iPhone, low power mode, slightly bigger screen, LTPO3, snorkel, depth gauge, I was so close! Water temperature sensing, which sounds like a massive list of features, but most of them you're not going to notice on day to day. Like, obviously, I do already appreciate the longer battery life, especially when I'm going to try and sleep with it now. I'm basically making this section because I had a really hard time, coming up with what is different from the 7. To me, it just still kind of feels the same, just a little nicer. But yeah, all those things are in this one now that weren't in the other one. But yeah, if Past Me has anything left to say, here's him. One thing I can say is when I did upgrade to the new operating system on my old watch, things felt a little slower, a little more sluggish, needed a few more frames to get from one menu to the next. I'm not going to go on a conspiracy theory and say that was on purpose, but with the liquid glass stuff, and I guess it does use a little more processing power. And yeah, so far this has been a little smoother because it has a newer chip, more efficient, faster chip, whatever. I will say this slightly more sluggish UI wasn't the reason I upgraded, because I had done so after placing my order, but it's just another one of those bonuses, I guess. I've never owned an Ultra watch before, so I kind of want to check that out as well. Future video probably, and then we'll decide what we're going to do from there, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Feel free to leave your own thoughts in the comments down below. If there are some really important features that were important for you, 7 versus 11, would be cool to hear them in the comments below. Leaving a like or subscribing if you enjoy is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.